queen to see on the screen. And remember, it's the LAKAY or no way. How are you doing, my cuties? Today's video is going to be a little different. Like, I am heavily inspired by Miss Bailey Sarian. The way that she does her true crimes story times. Well, they're not story times, but the way she breaks down the case, I wanted to give it a try, but differently. Like, I wanted to do like some reality TV shows, and I'm going to be starting with 90 Day Fiancé. I'm like, you know, I spent so much time watching the show, so why not, you know, give my take on each couple, and I'll make it into like a little series, and if you guys like it, I'll continue it. So today, we're going to be talking about Mr. Asuelu and Miss Kalani. Oh yeah, and I'm also going to be doing my makeup at the same time as she does her true crime makeup. So it's going to be like reality TV and makeup. If you're interested in the products that I'm using, I'm going to be listing them down in the description below. So without further ado, I'm going to shut my mouth and get on with the get on. When they were first introduced to us on season 6, well, let me first explain what the show is for those who don't know and maybe want to check it out. The show is called 90 Day Fiancé. The reason for that is because they're all working towards getting a 90-day, what is it called? A K1 visa. A K1 visa, which is basically you apply for it with your significant other who is overseas or wherever they may be in the world other than the United States. You apply for the K1 visa, which is basically giving you 90 days to be in the United States and live together as a couple to see if you want to get married after that 90 days. After that 90 days is up, if you decide not to get married, they have to go back to their country. So basically, that's what the show is based off of. It's based around those couples, like, you know, falling in love, either online or if they've gone to the country on vacation, they met someone and fell in love. So Kalani and Asuelu were first introduced on season 6. They met July of 2016. Asuelu lives in Samoa. So Kalani was visiting there on vacation, but she is Samoan. Her family is from Samoa. Her father, mainly her father. So she's considered Samoan American. She lives in California. That's where she was born and raised, in California. But Asuelu was born in Samoa, never had been outside of Samoa. He was, you know, just a Samoan man, like, you know, living the culture. Is a very small, poor village that he stayed in, you know, running after chickens and shit like that, you know what I mean? Not the chickens. So he's very small town, small, you know. It kind of gives you Stella Got a Groove Back vibes. You know, you go to an island, meeting a Jamaican man, fall in love. Because, you know, Kalani is older than him. Kalani is 31 years old and Asuelu is 24. They met while Kalani was on vacation and they hit it off, like I mentioned before. She was 27 at the time, so, and that would make him 20. So they are 7 years apart. It's a 7-year difference. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, dating someone younger than you. You fall in love. Hell, my husband is younger than me, but only by like a couple months. Only by a couple months, though. They spent a lot of time together, you know, on that island or a country. Comparing their cultures and stuff like that. You know, they were, you know, saying, you know, what traditions were in Samoa versus what they were like in California. You know, Asuelu was running game on old girl. Let's just be real. He liked what he saw. You know, this is what they said. I'm definitely paraphrasing. This is not exactly how he said it because he definitely didn't say it like this, but he was running game on her. He liked her. He was feeling her. You know, he was the activities director in Samoa, you know, showing them around the island and stuff like that. So, you know, eventually they began to talk and she said that he was sweet and she just liked him. At first she thought he was a little creepy, but you know, she got over that. So they exchanged information, and they kept in touch. And eventually, you know, they began to date. And she went back to the island for a second visit, you know, I guess to chop it up with him without her family. So she went back without her family. Kalani is Mormon. So they don't believe in the Mormon culture or, you know, the religion. They don't believe in having sex before marriage. So on her second visit, Kalani broke that that tradition of not, you know, having sex before marriage, and she lost her virginity to Asuelu. And you know, first go round, she got pregnant.
That's why I'm pregnant. And you the happy?
So of course this is a shock to everybody. She comes back pregnant from her second trip, and you know, she eventually gave birth to her first son, Oliver. Adorable baby, has Asuelu's whole face. They have their first child together, and you know, they begin to start the K-1 visa process. I don't really remember them having a lot of issues getting the visa because, you know, he was really young. I don't think he had a record or anything like that. So that portion seemed to be pretty smooth. So eventually he got to the States. Let me go back a little bit, actually.
Let me take y'all back, man. As I do so well.
Because Kalani's father, who is the Samoan man, he had a rough upbringing in Samoa. And he just, I don't know if he like hated his culture. I don't think that he does, but he made this comment, like he was saying he wanted Kalani to marry a white man because he knew it would be easier. I don't know about all that, because you know, every race of man has their issues. I wouldn't say that, but you know, this is how he felt at the time. So of course, naturally, he disapproved of the relationship, but I mean, what are you gonna say? Like, it's your child's decision on who they want to marry. But eventually, Asuelu got to the States, like I said before. You know, they started, you know, planning their wedding and, you know, trying to fill out the relationship. And of course, it had its hiccups, as, you know, a lot of relationships do. And considering that they had such a big age gap, like that played a role in it as well, like their problems. Asuelu and Kalani eventually got married on September of 2018. So they've been married now for about 2 years. And they have two children. Soon after they got married, Kalani got pregnant again. And this upset her family completely because, you know, they were already helping out a lot with the first baby. Because, you know, Kalani was not working at the time because, you know, she was busy taking care, and Asuelu also wasn't working either. So she's completely dependent on her family to basically take care of her and her family right now because, you know, of times, you know, Asuelu hasn't gotten his work visa yet. So he's unable to, you know, be the sole provider for the family at that time anyway. I really don't know why she wasn't working. I don't understand the logic. Me personally, but maybe she had some reason why she could not work at the time. Or maybe she didn't want to work. That was fine as well. Hey, we all have our preferences. I'm not judging. So basically, she was really dependent on her father and her sister a lot to, you know, help out with whatever they could, you know. Which isn't really fair, but you know, it is what it is. That's how it goes sometimes. You know, it wasn't like she was unappreciative. I could see if she wasn't grateful for it. So I'm pretty sure they didn't mind helping her out. You know, you hate helping out ungrateful people who, you know, just take you for granted. So at least she was grateful to them and her family for always being there and supporting her and Asuelu. And you know, Kalani's dad was really hard on Asuelu. Like, I noticed, like, he just, like, did not take any shit from Asuelu. Like, any little hiccup that Asuelu had, like, he was on his ass, like, period.
If I get concerned, you're gonna have a problem. There's no more around, man. 100. I'm done. Before I get pissed off. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Asuelu. If he doesn't change his way of doing what he's doing now, he's either going to get his ass whooped or he's going to be sent back to Samoa.
So he just wasn't going for it. Like anything that came up, you know, Kalani tried her best to keep everything on the low, like any issues that they had, but out of fear of her father's reaction, she didn't want him to overreact. Because Kalani's father's first reflex was to get in that ass. Like, he wanted to fight. He wanted to, like, what's up? Like, you mistreat my daughter, or you sit up here making her cry. We got some problems. Like, period. I'm gonna beat your ass. Yeah. So, as far as that goes, like, her not working and, you know, them having financial issues, of course, that would cause a strain on any relationship, not just theirs, but theirs have unique circumstances. So eventually, you know, Asuelu did he did find some work. He found work. He found work part-time, working, what does it say, as a health and wellness shop at a, like, he was just like there, I guess, as a cashier or something like that. Or, you know, offering samples, giving information on the samples at the health and wellness shop. Now that I've, you know, given you a little backstory, we're gonna go into this new situation that has a lot of people talking about this couple that we're talking about right now. Okay, so I'm gonna explain it like this. So Asuelu was getting homesick. He had found work, you know, things were on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, the issue arose with him getting homesick. So, you know, he brought up the idea to Kalani, okay, let's go to Samoa, you know, to see my family because, you know, I really miss my family. And she was thinking, you know, with coronavirus going on, of course, any mother would be concerned about their child's safety and their health, you know, because anything could happen. You know, the baby could fall sick. And at the time, Asuelu's home in Samoa, they had a measles outbreak. And, you know, their youngest son, Kennedy, wasn't old enough yet to receive the vaccine for measles. So that was Kalani's, you know, first concern, of course, is the baby. But Asuelu was not going for that. He didn't want to hear it. Like, he just was like, you know, let's hear from the doctor first. So they heard from the doctor, and the doctor was like, the recommended time is 18 months for a baby to receive a measles vaccine. But we can, you know, it is possible for the baby at the age that he is now to receive the vaccine to go over to Samoa to visit the family. And Kalani's concern was, you know, what are the chances that he would still get measles, you know, after the vaccine? And she was like, basically, you're going to have to go at your own risk. There's no 100% guarantee that, you know, he won't get sick. And, you know, Asuelu was pleading with Kalani, like, you know, my family is vaccinated. We won't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I can understand where Kalani is coming from, because it's like, you know, why take the risk when we can just wait a little while longer, and, you know, our son Kennedy's immune system can build up, and, you know, he'll be more likely to, you know, fight off the virus if he was to contract it, worst case scenario. Why not just wait? But, you know, Asuelu being very impatient. And plus, you know, they didn't really have the funds for that. They weren't, yeah, he was working, but it was part-time. Like, you know, why would we spend unnecessary money just because you're homesick when you can just wait? You're a big boy. You're not a little boy. Like, you can wait to see your family. It's not that serious. But I can understand how it looks from his point of view, because her family is like down the street. His family is across the world, so she wouldn't be able to relate. So it sounds like kind of inconsiderate on her end, because her family is like right next door. But realistically, you know, she's right. Now, why he couldn't just go on the trip alone, I'm not really sure. I don't understand why he had to take the whole family. I guess he wanted them to meet for the first time ever. Kalani made him like a, you know, I wouldn't say it's a promise. She was just like, you know, I'll think about it. And then eventually she was like, I thought about it and no, like, I don't want to go. So this pissed Asuelu off to the point where, you know, things got a little heated when they went to go visit his parents. I mean, her parents, which was like a terrible timing to do that. Like, who does this? So they were in the car. I think Kalani's mother had just picked them up from the airport. No, not the airport. Like, I guess just picked them up to go somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I guess a different part of California. Kalani's mother's in the front, in the driver's seat. Kalani's in the passenger seat. Asuelu's in the back with the children. Asuelu calls her a lying bitch.
A lying bitch.
I'm the one that planned all of his birthday. I do everything for them. It's nowhere near fair. And if it's so easy, why don't you do any of it then?
Because that's a woman talk. And if you start the sound of your voice, it's so annoying too.
So also, when you talk with my daughter, when your mom's there, you're gonna talk like that?
I don't know what your husband talked to you when you guys been together. It's my wife. I can talk whatever.
Okay, then talk to that way in front of her, in front of my husband then.
If your daughter asks stupid questions.
Give me a break. You're disrespectful to me, and I don't like the way you're talking to my daughter.
It's Oliver's birthday weekend. We should all be having the best time. I honestly feel like Asuelu did this to sabotage the weekend. I think he wanted to go to Samoa, and he wants to get back at me and try to ruin the weekend.
And I don't care what the hell language you speak, what culture you're from. We all know what a lying bitch is, okay? And he meant that shit. He said what he said, and he was not taking it back. And I just thought that was like, of course you're not supposed to call your wife a bitch, period. But like, that was like a really unique time to do it in front of her mother. Like, you're really bold. You got some, you really, really bold. And her mom was just looking like, what's going on, baby? Like, first of all, who is you talking to? Because it can't be my daughter. That's number one. She was just really like shocked that he was, you know, calling her out of her name like that, as any mother would be. Like, who you think you are, calling my daughter a bitch, like right in front of me at that? It's bad enough that you're calling her a bitch, period, but you're gonna do it right in front of me? So he was doing this at the birthday, right before the birthday. He was just throwing a fit because, you know, he couldn't go see his family. And that I can see her complaint about, you know, the maturity thing. Because that was really, really childish. Very, very childish. Okay, so Asuelu calls, you know, Kalani a bitch. Mother feels some type of way about it. And she proceeds to tell the father. Eventually, like, I think it was after Oliver's birthday because they just didn't want any drama on the day of the birthday. You know, of course, like, Asuelu still after that, he's not even apologetic. He doesn't even apologize, like, right off the bat. He just, you know, continues to throw a temper tantrum, essentially, until, you know, until the day of the party. And then, you know, at that point, he decided to get his act together for the birthday. But up until then, yeah, he throws a temper tantrum to the point where he actually left the house. Like, he left the house completely and he got on a bus and, you know, he told the camera crew to stop following him because he was done. And so instead of him continuing to throw the tantrum, he comes up with the solution to visit his family in Washington because he has some family in the States. His mother is actually in Washington. She lives with, I think, one of his sisters. So that was the middle, the meeting in the middle for Asuelu was to, since we can't go to Samoa, let's go to Washington. Kalani was like, okay, well, I can compromise with that, that's fine. So, you know, according to Asuelu, in order to, you know, have his family's love and affection while they are there in Washington, or to build or rekindle the relationship, Asuelu has to give them money that they do not have. This is just, it's just so like, I don't know. I don't want to blame it on the culture, because I feel like, because I can't speak for all Samoans or Samoans, period. Like, I don't know what if that is actually true. I'm just taking their word for it. But like, to have a relationship with your mom, you have to pay her. It's just kind of weird, you know what I mean? It's a little strange. But, you know, it's their culture, so, you know, it is what it is. So Asuelu lets Kalani know this. Kalani's like, you know, bro, we're already struggling to get by. Like, we can't really give them some absurd amount of money, because I believe the amount that she was asking for was $1,000. And, you know, of course, Asuelu's sister was backing that up, like, yeah, give her $1,000. Because I don't really think Asuelu's sister was giving that much. So I don't really know why they expected it out of Asuelu. Because he explained, you know, I'm only working part-time and I still have to feed my kids. Like, come on, y'all being ridiculous. But of course, he said he made a promise that he could not keep. And he was like, yeah, I'll give you $1,000. And, you know, Kalani's just sitting there like, should we is? Should we give him $1,000? What did I say? We could do that.
Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that?
I don't recall approving this. But, you know, of course, she, being a good wife, she ain't undermine him in front of them. Because I would have been like, no, I don't know who told you that, but it ain't coming out of our pocket. I don't know where you're going to get $1,000 from, but it ain't coming from us. You know what I'm saying? Ain't good reason. Like, come on. Like, y'all already struggling. Y'all have 2 children. You know, y'all barely getting by. And you want to give your mother $1,000. Like, where is the money going to come from? Like, because you only work part-time. So, I'm just confused. And he was just basically giving her the excuse, oh, God will make a way. Don't know. It's faith, and then there's that kind of faith. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't think God can just make money magically appear into your hand without, you know what I'm saying? God can do anything. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that it was clicking to Asuelu. Instead, she came up with the solution, trying to compromise again. How about we buy them some gifts instead, like some souvenirs or something like that, which is reasonable. If I was her, I wouldn't even get their ass that. She better than me, because I would have been like, y'all can kick rocks, but hey, that's just me. So he was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. So they found a little Samoan market shop or something like that, like to get them some things that remind them of home. Like, I think it was some sort of meat or something that was in a can that they really like over there. So he got loads of that. And he spent over $200 in the store. And then he turns to Kalani and said, okay, how much money are we giving them? And Kalani's like, well, I thought we were giving them the gifts. Oh, he was like, oh, I want to give them both. And she's just, again, telling him, you know, we can't give that. So she suggests giving them $50. And he's like, $50?
Got him!
Like, what are we supposed to do with that? They're not going to go for that. And Kehlani was like, the most that we can do right now, seriously, is $100. And of course he wasn't satisfied with that, but he didn't want to, you know, keep going back and forth with her. So he was just like, okay, fine, that's, I guess that's enough. So they eventually make it to Washington to see his family. And, you know, they embrace Asuelu as any, because, you know, they hadn't seen each other in a very, very long time. I'm not unsure about how long Asuelu's mother had been living in the States, but, you know, from what he was making it out to be, you know, he hadn't seen his mom in like ages, you know. And everybody was like obsessing over the scene where he actually seen his mom, because it was like kind of weird, I guess, culture or not culture, you know, like they were kissing each other in the mouth, like they just found that very strange. And so did Kalani. Like, she was just like, what's going on? Like, she just felt that shit weird. But, you know, like, he missed his mom. So, I mean, and of course he played it off like, oh, I wasn't kissing her. Like, cut it out. But he was clearly kissing her. I'm actually proud of Asuelu for this part. He actually stood up for his wife, and he was like, you know, it's not all her fault, because, you know, I understand. Like, he was actually like coming into terms that it wasn't, you know, a good idea for them to give that much money. Like, you know, he was actually thinking about his children, and he wasn't being selfish anymore. So hats off to Asuelu for that portion. He actually growed up and manned up and realized that he needs to look out for his family first, you know, no matter. And he actually brought up a point with his family that, you know, Kalani's family doesn't require her to pay money for them to have a relationship. And, you know, of course they weren't trying to hear that. They didn't care. They just were like, well, cut the check, ho. Like, period. Like, where's my money? Bitch better have my money. Bitch better have my money. I need you to cut that check expeditiously. They were like, we don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Like, where's the money? Like, they were acting like fucking Asuelu had gambling debt or something. And like, they were like, you know, what does that mean? And basically his sisters were like, you know, Asuelu, no matter what, we're supposed to take care of our family back in Asuelu. No matter if we come and, you know, come here and gain families of our own, we still have to take care of our home. Which didn't make any sense, honestly, because they weren't in Samoa. They were in the States. So why isn't the family member that the mother is staying with taking care of her? Why does Asuelu have to come out of his pockets just to have this relationship with his mother, which shouldn't cost anything, in my opinion? I don't give a fuck what culture, what traditions there is. You have to, I'm not behind the, you have to pay your parents to have a relationship with them. That's like ridiculous. Asuelu was just like getting very emotional. Like, he was like, you know, it's not Kalani's fault. Like, you know, they were basically saying that Kalani was controlling him, and he took up for her again. He was like, it's not Kalani's fault. Like, you know, if I don't take care of my family, they are going to die, which was very extreme. It was extreme, but we all knew what he meant by that.
We send money to my family, and how can my family know? How can my kids? If my family wants money from me, I will send it. And what about my kids? They will die. It's not, I don't want that to happen.
Please, my son, don't cry.
I feel like he was trying to explain it to them in the most extreme way, so they would, you know, see where he was coming from and like have sympathy on him. But I don't think they cared. You know, this is where Kalani steps in as his wife, and she asks the sister, well, what are you sending home? You know, and the sister gets defensive, and she's like, well, that's none of your business, but we're all family here, right? So what are you sending? Like, we would love to know what you are sending home. You're so worried about what Asuelu is contributing. What are you contributing? Like, how are you helping? You know, since we have to give so much money, where is your money? But she just avoided the question, and like, she just kept focusing in on Asuelu. And that's a good question. Like, what money are you spending? You know, are you receiving a cut of this money? And that's why, you are like so adamant about him giving it to you because you're broke too, and like you don't want to work. And basically, like, you know, Asuelu just kept trying to plead with them, you know, like, my job, like, I don't have a great job. And they were like, we don't care. Well, why aren't you working this and that? And, you know, just basically grilling him, like, on his financing. And I'm like, you know, this whole time I'm thinking, like, damn, like, that got to be, like, very disheartening, like, to, you know, have your family only deal with you because, you know, you're giving them cash, essentially. Like, I mean, well, it's not that unfamiliar in American culture either for families to use you for money. So I can't say that I'm too shocked, but like, to either give me money, like, to be so blunt with it, I guess, like, it's just the shocking part. You know, family, like, these days, they'll just, like, tiptoe around it, you know, at least try to play nice with you a little bit, you know, to get the money that they need or that they want out of you. But she just kept beating around the bush. Like, she didn't want to say how much money she was saying. Basically, she was just saying, don't worry about these problems. Like, you know, telling Kalani to basically mind her fucking business. Even though this is coming out of Kalani's pocket. Even if he didn't have a whole family, I still don't feel like his money is owed to anyone except for himself. That's just me personally. He worked hard for the money. He should be able to decide whatever, you know, he chooses to. Grown-ass people sitting up there begging for money, you know, when they're more than capable of getting up and getting it out on their own. Nobody is obligated to give you anything in this life. Let's just make that clear. You have to work for every single thing that you have. And that's just on period. So the episode cuts off, right? And basically the next previews was basically like this episode. I don't think it's aired yet. Next preview is basically like the mother basically saying, like, I don't care about your kids, I want the money. Which is just like terrible. Like, you know, like to hear that from your own mom, you know, someone who pushed you out of her cooch, you know, you think that she'd have a little more compassion and care for her son, who clearly needs, you know, a connection to his family, you know, being that he is homesick. I'm just hoping, like, you know, for the children's sake that, you know, Asuelu doesn't switch up, you know, because I don't think that, you know, he's been rock solid on, you know, having Kalani's back and standing up for her as much as she has been for him, because, you know, she's protected him from her family time and time again. You know, even when the sister, she was having problems with the sister, nobody liked him, but she wanted to stay and, you know, go against the grain for him. But it just doesn't seem like, you know, he had the same energy for her when it came down to his family and their wants and demands. I'm just hoping that he sticks to what he's doing now and he doesn't continue to try to fight it, because they have great chemistry. Like, I don't think that this is for a green card, because it has been a lot of relationships on the show that are just for the green card and, you know, just to get to the United States to have a better life. I just hope that he has her back, because, like, you know, that sucks, like, to have to actually explain to your husband, like, why you have to choose us over everyone, you know, because that's all that Kalani has been doing from the beginning. She went against her father's wishes. She still married you. You know, now it's time for you to show up for her and the family now. Like, it should really be a no-brainer, but it's such a big cultural difference in the relationship that, you know, this is why I feel like the show should offer some sort of couples therapy. I do think that they are a lovely couple. They are one of my favorites. I can't lie. They are one of my favorite couples on this TV show. And I'm hoping that, you know, things go well for them. I'm just hoping that the mom, you know, I really don't think that she's gonna tighten up. I feel like she's gonna continue to be an asshole and practically, you know, exchange love for money, which is pretty trash if you ask me. And if I do get anything wrong about, you know, the relationship or the details, feel free to correct me. I am not offended by criticism or anything of that nature. As long as you're not being rude, then I'm just gonna ignore you. I don't give things like that energy. But if I missed anything, or if it's some more details that you would like on the couple or an update on them, just let me know and I got you. Okay, so my conclusion of the relationship is, I think that I think it's beneficial for every couple to have counseling. I've been married for 3 years now, and it has brought a lot of understanding and just overall greatness to my marriage. So I mean, I suggest that they do it, you know, like, especially if they have the means to do so. After they've been on the show for so long, I'm pretty sure circumstances have changed, you know, and they do offer some free stuff, you know, like, it's just, you just gotta put in the effort. And, you know, don't be too big to ever think that, you know, you don't need help with your relationship or your marriage. But other than that, let's just hope, like, for this next episode, that Asuelu stands up to his family and, you know, lets them know that, you know, I don't need a relationship with you. All I need is my family, you know, and hopefully she's able to accommodate him and make him feel more welcome at his home, you know, and, you know, just, you know, make him feel less homesick, I guess. I don't know. I don't got all the answers, but hey, that's just my take on the whole thing. But make sure you guys like this video, leave a comment if you have anything to say, or like your opinions on this whole couple, and like tell me the next couple that you want me to do next, if you even like the video. So this was just like an idea, but if you like the video, share it, like it, comment on it, like just get the activity flowing around it. And I'll see you guys next time. And don't forget, it's the LAKAY way or no way, period. Ta-ta for now, bye.